And these are the kinds of things that if you do one of them a day, pick one, I don't care when you do them, I'll go through my routine in a minute, you're going to leave these activities feeling the energy that you need. It's that reset. So I've posted a lot recently about how to outperform people, how to squeeze as much cognitive capacity as you can out of every hour. And don't get me wrong, being super productive with your time and making sure that, you're not spending most of your hours procrastinating scrolling through YouTube is useful and all, but what you are going to start doing is accumulating stress and fatigue. People start banning around words like burnout, and burnout isn't fake, it's a real thing. You will overwork yourself, and okay, sure, you pull an all-nighter and you get that piece of work done, but if it writes you off for 3 days, sure, you had 1 day of being super productive, but it would have been better if you'd just done, 3 days of 10 hours. Reducing the quantity of work isn't the only thing you can do to prevent burnout. In this video, I'm going to cover 3 tools that will let you keep pushing the envelope without, hitting the wall. But before we cover what those tools are, we should probably define what the criteria is for, preventing this. So, obviously, the key one is reducing stress, It's that accumulation of that tightness in your chest and that tiredness, even though you've slept maybe 8 hours, but you wake up just still feeling tired. Maybe you're even struggling to get to sleep because your mind is still racing. Well, we've already identified there 2 problems, right? So, that tightness feeling, that is, the accumulation of inflammation and cortisol and all of the bad chemicals that don't let you relax. But also the sleeping mechanism is another major part of what leads to, unhealthy habits and not being able to repeatably do the work that you're trying to get done. And also, I guess it's about how you feel day to day. It's about, that feeling of, having energy and moving forwards, pushing harder, So we need tools that deal with all 3. And actually, they're readily available, and in one case, they're completely free. The next case is going to be, 40 quid minimum, going up to 100 quid. And then the last one will be depending on what's available in your area, but I get it for about £30 a month. And it's included in my gym membership. So I might have spoiled what it's going to be there. So what are the tools? Well, I'm not going to be the first self-help person on the internet to say that morning sunlight is a pretty big game changer. So we're going to revolve these tools around getting you out the door as soon as we can after you wake up, because what that's going to do is a lot of things, but essentially it's going to set your circadian rhythm so that when it comes to bedtime, you actually feel tired. When you get into bed, you sleep as long as you're in bed instead of spending 3 hours on your phone. And then when you wake up, your body's ready to wake up because it knows when sunrise is and it wakes you up before. You actually get the stress hormone cortisol in a big spike if you can train your brain when sunrise is. And you can't do that by looking through a window. You can't do it while sitting in the car on the way to work, because actually modern windows take out the wavelengths of light that actually tell your brain, oh, by the way, it's daytime. So as far as you're concerned, you're still in a cave. So the 3 I use is cycling, walking, and a sauna. All 3 of these have a ridiculous amount of literature on why they're impactful. Just to read a few: cognitive function improvement, stress reduction, cardiovascular health, reduce risk of cardiovascular disease, muscle recovery, mental relaxation, enhanced creativity, increased focus and productivity, and mental well-being. And these are all from well-cited meta-analysis. And if you do them in the morning, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, I know obviously being in a sauna is being inside, but presumably in order to do the sauna, you have to get to it. So I would pick one in walking or cycling distance so you still get that, morning sunlight. Now, why did I pick these 3 specifics? Well, obviously, 1, because they all have, wildly large benefits for doing. None of them are high impact. It's not like going to the gym where, you're trying to wear yourself out so that the muscles grow, because that's accumulating fatigue and it's accumulating stress. These are all things that you can do at minimum intensity. So if you're cycling, don't go above conversational pace. If you can't hold a conversation while cycling, you're cycling too fast, slow down. If you're walking and you feel yourself getting out of breath, stop walking up such a steep hill, or slow down, or take a break. In the sauna, it's a bit different because it is raising your heart rate, but it's doing it in such a way where actually you're releasing hormones because of the way that your body responds. It's a bit different. It's not like, in the sauna you should get out the second it starts feeling bad. No, actually, to get the benefits, you should stay in as long as you can. And these are the kinds of things that if you do one of them a day, pick one, I don't care when you do them, I'll go through my routine in a minute, you're going to leave these activities feeling the energy that you need. It's that reset. It's that if you had a bad day yesterday, you're going to wake up probably still feeling a little bit shit. You're going to either cycle, go for a long walk, hit the sauna. You're going to get back at maybe 8 in the morning. I leave at 6:30. I get back at 7:30. I spend an hour doing each of them. And I don't feel groggy. I'm ready to work. I don't feel stressed by the end of the day because I've had a complete reset. If you have multiple days where you don't do something like these things, it just builds up and it gets worse and worse and worse. I get to the end of the day and I'm tired because I had to wake up early to do one of these things. My brain knows it's bedtime because I saw sunlight this morning, early. My brain wakes me up before my alarm goes off because it's used to seeing sun early in the morning, so it knows to prime that cortisol mechanism that gets you to spring out of bed. These are healthy cornerstone habits that will keep you going. Now, how do you actually convince them? Well, you need a good reason. You know, you're not just going to do something for the sake of it. So the way that I organize my week is I work in the office twice a week. So that's too easily done. Instead of driving or commuting, I cycle. I cycle to work. And there we go. That's my mode of transport. I have to get to work because, you know, I don't want to lose my house. So that's my motivation for cycling. The second one is on the days that I work from home. First thing I do in the morning is I go to the sauna, which, funnily enough, I cycle to, but it's such a short cycle, it doesn't really count. But, you know, I still get to see daylight. Why do I do that? How do I motivate that? Well, I would recommend just doing it for a couple of days. And I think you're going to realize pretty quickly that it isn't something like, oh, I have to get out of bed and go do this thing. It's like, shit, I get to go do it. It feels incredible. Of all of these things, if you work in a high stress environment, software engineering tends to be, right? You're sprinting, you know, they don't call it a walk. It's hard work. You're probably used to that feeling of like stress building up. The sauna is probably the biggest impact one of all three. You know, you go to the sauna, you sit in there for 20 minutes at 80 degrees, maybe 90 degrees, and you get out and you feel like a completely new person. This one, it doesn't need motivating. I think if you just try it, you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to be, I mean, I'm pulling on my shoes at 6:15 in the morning to get to the sauna when it opens at 6:30 because, excitement, really. I want to spend as much time there as I can because I want to get it done before I have to start work. You know, if I'm late getting there, then I only get 20 minutes instead of 40, and sometimes I do. I push it up to an hour. So that's me Monday to Friday, right? So 2 days I cycle in, the other 3 days I'm in the sauna in the morning. What about on the weekend? Well, that's when I either do one or two things. Every other weekend I go for a very long cycle. That just happens to be part of my routine. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's just that, you know, if you want to have that baseline fitness, you need to constantly be doing a higher amount. It doesn't mean I'm stressing myself out and it's really, really hard. No, I'm still doing it at a conversational pace. But on the weekend, the big one that I do is my girlfriend and I, we wake up early, Saturday and Sunday, and we go for a long walk. Now, again, how do you motivate it? Well, you know, the cycling was easy because you have to get to your job. Some people, I think, struggle with the idea of, like, why get out of bed? Like, just lay here, not doing anything. And I think you need to incentivize it. It's not enough in the modern world to, you know, justify going out for a walk as, oh, I get to be in nature, because it probably doesn't get you excited enough. So what I do is I tend to get myself a treat. You know, get a cheap breakfast item, Greggs, if it has to be. Grab a coffee, a Starbucks, whatever it is. Just that thing of like, okay, I'm going to get somewhere that's fairly far away. I'm going to be out in the sun, or even if it's raining, you need to pick something that you're going to do regardless of the weather. If it's raining, wear a raincoat. Now it's basically not raining, you know? I know this video hasn't been particularly technical, but I genuinely believe that these things are the types of things that will allow you to outperform in your technical work, because stress and fatigue is the killer of creativity and being able to do hard work, because you're just not going to do it. You know, if the stress gets high enough, you're going to start making mistakes. The mistakes are going to make you more stressed, and it's going to become this negative feedback loop of just things getting worse and worse and worse, and you're going to be back where you were, which is either working an average amount or a below average amount, and that's not what we're after. Now, if you want to see how to actually manage your time outside of these free tools, I've actually got a video that I just posted that shows how I achieve as many tasks within a day as possible. So I hope this video helps. Cheers.